All right, Tyler. Y'all have had a great run through this tournament so far. How do you feel like your team's playing?
We're playing great. We're playing as a team. We're all confident we can make this into a great run.
Yeah, and y'all have won your pool now. That's obviously the goal to get into the next stage. How have you been playing? What have you kind of helped your team do to get this far?
Just doing my job. Like when I need to hit balls a certain part of the field, move guys over, drive them in, really help making the plays I need to make, keep it in front of me.
Yeah, and I know one thing you've really been working on this summer is using the whole field when you're at the plate. How did that kind of come about, and how do you feel like you've progressed in that area?
Well, I've definitely let the ball travel some. Teams started to push shifts on me. I drove it the other way, showed them wrong. Just pulled it when I need to pull it, run around second, nobody out. Just done my job.
Yeah, and do you feel like offensively that's kind of the strength of your game at this point? I know you've had a lot of extra base hits out here, driven in some runs.
Definitely. Oh yeah, definitely. Driving the balls, both gaps, down the lines, definitely helping me out throughout this.
All right, and you just committed to South Carolina earlier this week, or late last week. What kind of went into that decision? What kind of stood out to you about South Carolina?
The facilities, the fields, the coaches, everybody. It just felt like the place I needed to be. Like ever since I was 9 or 10, I loved it and just fell in love with the place. As soon as I got there, I knew this was it.
Yeah, and you told me earlier you've been following South Carolina for a little while. That you had a trip when you were younger. What kind of what do you remember from that day?
Well, I was 9 or 10, and my coach took me by there. We had a tournament, and we drove by, and we were like, "Oh, there's a scrimmage game on." So my friend and I went out there, and he caught a foul ball, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, this stinks." And then later on in the game, I caught a foul ball, and I looked at the field, and I was like, "I love this place. This is my place." And ever since it was my number one.
And when did South Carolina start approaching you, and how did that make you feel when South Carolina started to recruit you?
It was like halfway through my high school year. My coach texted me, was like, "Hey, call Expo," and I was like, "All right." And I just got so happy ever since then. I was like, "Yes." I was so happy.
All right, and what do you have left this summer? We're kind of coming towards the end, but I know you got a little bit left.
Yeah, hopefully finish this tournament out, getting the win, dogpiling. Then I go to California for a national underclass, and I fly back to North Carolina for this USA tournament thing.
And I know you've got a couple of guys on your Gators team that you're recruiting for South Carolina. What do you have to sell them on the program a little bit? What do you kind of say to them?
Well, they obviously know it's beautiful. They love it, and honestly, I just got to put in my motivation in them. Tell them every day we cocky, all this stuff, and they're coming around.